Okay. Brothers and sisters, we thank you again for being with us on another Sabbath. When the sun go down, we'll be into the Feast of Tabernacles. Of course, Elder and Brother Dell and others are out during the 7 days. They'll be camping out, so he's absent, but with us through spirit. And others that are camping right now, we hope that the Most High stay with them and protect them during this week. We're going to touch on the Feast of Tabernacles, but before we do that, I want to deal with something that's going on in the news right now. In the news, there's two prominent stories that the mainstream media is publicizing and programming the people worldwide to receive or to understand. What we're hearing about viruses, predominantly the Ebola virus, and we're also hearing about one thing that they're covering up during this whole Ebola outbreak, as they call it, which we know is not an outbreak at all, but a campaign. The next thing, I think we'll go, yes, go. The next thing is what they're talking about is that they're covering really is Syria and what's going on in Syria right now. For those who don't know, Syria is being bombed as we speak by the world powers. Okay? They're being bombed, and a lot of them are actually being killed trying to escape Syria, looking to go into the Greek islands for their lives. Now, some of you may ask, well, what does this have to do with Bible prophecy? And why is there such a cover-up concerning what's going on in Syria? What we're going to tell you, brothers and sisters, is no mystery. It's all really the Ebola campaign, and what's going on in Syria is really all encompassed, which means it encompasses it all. Really, what we're dealing with is the final stages of the destruction of the children of Israel. These are the final stages. When the Most High spoke of the captivity and destruction of Israel, he was speaking of the fall of God's people due to their disobedience. And through that fall, Israel would be taken down throughout the four corners of the earth. That's what the one world order is. The one world order cannot be assumed by the satanic powers until Israel have been scattered throughout the earth and utterly eradicated. And that's what the New World Order is. Okay? It's focused towards scattering and destroying the children of God. This is all a part of the Most High's punishment against Israel. Now, some people may ask, well, what do that have to do with Syria? Some of you probably don't know this, but Greater Syria was once part of ancient Israel before Israel fell. So this bombing that's going on in Syria right now is the destruction of the remnant of our people that have yet to go into captivity. That's what's going on here. It's a remnant that stayed through all these ages within Syria that now is suffering the punishment. We went through ours a long time ago. We went through ours through the cargo slave ships and what have you. Now Syria is that remnant that's left before the one world order, before the final war with Iran. So it always comes down to not religion, but a imposition or war against a certain bloodline. That's what it is. It's a race war. They're using the media to cover their destruction against the children of God. They can't tell people of color and others who are Israel that they're looking to exterminate us based on a gene we hold. They can't tell you that it's actual, their health system is a war against the gene we hold. So they have to come out with these sleek stories concerning a virus and all that while they attack us through stealth. This is all a curse. To examine how first they teach us through science that we're all really all the same and there's no difference. But the scientists have found a gene that's separate from all other people, that they can target through genetic warfare. That's what the Ebola thing is. Now, this is no one's fault according to color or have anything to do with color, but that tells us that they can have a race-specific disease to attack a people. And that's the reason Red Cross and all their other systems created a blood database all over the earth. It had nothing to do with saving people through blood plasma. It had everything to do with studying the genome pool of people and separating them according to family lines for the final war against God's people. Hope you follow me here. And I said from the beginning, when it first came out, I said, listen, it was just something told me that there was no virus. And usually you can go by the constant pushing through mainstream media. Usually when mainstream media is pushing something, it's a diversion from what's really happening. They was trying to push this fear of this virus, when all I seen through the whole campaign was them pointing to Africa as a threat to the world. I wasn't looking at the virus. It was everything against Africa. It was, we need to stop people from Africa from traveling. We need to quarantine Africans. We have to make sure we screen them coming into certain countries because they may have the virus. When really it's not the virus. What they're telling the world without us understanding, they're keeping us pretty busy through economics, through us being poor. We're too busy to really look at what they're doing against us. But what I'm seeing here is what they're saying is these people have become and are a virus. And if we don't stop them, they will spread. So from the beginning, I knew there was no outbreak, that this was a UN plan. And I have other information I'm going to go into tomorrow, showing you that the UN is not a political platform, but a religious platform. The UN is a religious platform, hierarchy of ambassadors under the fallen angels, under demons. This is a religious thing. It's not diplomatic or political. So what's happening is the Most High have allowed them to operate so that they can purge Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. So the Most High is allowing the devil to operate against us so that we can come back to him, so that we can actually cleave to him. And not until then will the Most High step in. Now I'm going to show you something here. I went and studied Igbo, and I downloaded a book on it. Come to find out, Igbo is an African word, or in certain areas, Igbo is Hebrew in Africa. That's what it means. So they're putting it right in our face that they're looking to exterminate Hebrews. Igbo is Hebrew. It's another word for Hebrew. So it's not a virus. It's the prophecies of the Most High coming into full fruition. So the people in Syria and other areas, this is the continual spirit that the devil is against, knowing that Israel is scattered throughout these certain parts. So the time that we're speaking of is predicated on them scattering and destroying Israel. That's what the New World Order is looking at. That's what the powers that be is looking at. Where's Israel? And have we put them totally under our foot as of yet? And in the areas in which we prospered, even through their empires, they must stomp out Israel in all these areas too. That's all your wars. Let me show you something here. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, the first chapter, real quick. How did you go to Isaiah 1 and 5?
Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5. Why should ye be stricken anymore?
So the Most High is asking Israel, why should we be stricken anymore? We've gone through captivity, have been destroyed. So the Most High is asking, how long will we accept these beatings? He actually want to stop whipping us. But he's asking Israel, what? How long what?
Why should ye be stricken anymore?
Why shall you be stricken anymore? He released the nations against us because we were disobedient. He figured after us being beat from generation to generation, we would ask why. And through that why, we would come back under his protection. Read.
Ye will revolt more and more.
He says the more you being whipped, you're revolting. The more I'm allowing the nations to whip you, Israel, you are revolting. That means you would think there will be less of our people against the New Age movement. Less of our people against the other world religions. Less of our people dealing with homosexual and sodomy and all types of evil. Less of our people. You would think our people would have came back to the Most High by now. And the Most High is asking, how long do you want to be stricken with these punishments? So eventually, the Most High is going to allow the nations to plague us. He's showing step by step, showing the prophecies of the nations taking us down. We go into captivity. We're being destroyed. And yet we're at the very end and still going against the Most High. So he's going to allow them to plague us. He allowed them. So we would like to always point to the devil who's behind. The devil is going to be the devil. As far as the powers that be that's doing this to us. We always point to them and say they're the bad guys. But why are we allowing this to happen to us? Why haven't we ran under the protection of the Most High? Why haven't we sheltered under him? Read.
The whole head is sick.
The whole head is sick.
And the whole heart faints.
And the heart faints. Read.
Verse 6. From the sole of the foot even unto the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores.
So the Most High is seeing Israel as someone that's totally stricken and beat and destroyed with no leadership, no help, no nothing. You would think that some of these people would say, you know what? Our way is not the way. I've tried it my way and it doesn't work. But the more stricken the Most High allow these nations to strike us and destroy us, the more he's seeing more of our people with lesbian behavior, homosexual behavior, murderers, killers, liars, cutthroats, thieves. So since we're becoming a virus, the Most High is going to allow the nations to treat us like one. That's how you resolve the Ebola. Because one thing the nations have no power over, they cannot stop us from coming back to the Most High. See, they can't stop that. Now they can put pitfalls and traps and snares out. But if we make a conscious decision as an individual to come back to the Most High will pave the way. And the other nations, the devil, the fallen angels, none of them can do nothing against us if we make that choice and say, you know what, Ahia? I'm coming under your protection. My way don't work. The way of this world is done. I don't want to suffer these plagues. I'm coming under you. The nations can do nothing about that. But we must make that choice. And when that choice is made, Then the Most High sent his host, his angels, to cover us. That's when it happens. Now we have that hedge and can see things straight. Read.
They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Your country is desolate.
Our country is desolate. We have no home.
Your cities are burned with fire.
The cities are burned with fire, and now I'm bringing that up to modern day Syria, one of the last ancient places that held the children of Israel. They got comfortable believing that it could never happen to them. They seen the fall of us. They seen the fall of Israel, and guess what? The area they're bombing is one of the last areas that hold the ancient Phoenician Hebrew. That's our people suffering. But you will never know it. We've been so detached from who we are. There's no tears for our people that are dying in Syria right now. And they're just as much as Israel as we are. That's the diversion. That's the diversion. They got you out there looking this way. Looking at a football player hitting a woman, and we talking about that for weeks. Okay, and all this, not to say that that's right or wrong. That shouldn't be a story that capture your minds for a month's time. Okay. When we're suffering and being beat and destroyed and killed all over the earth, how can that story or any of these stories take the headline? Who cares what's going on with Kanye and his girl or whatever? Who cares about that? These are all distractions so that we can't see prophecy and understand that all prophecies in the scripture, no matter how far off, affects us directly. What's going on in Syria, brothers and sisters, will affect us directly. That's the last thing. That is the end of the scattering of Israel, according to the book of Daniel. After they destroy Syria and take Syria over, and the New World Order have Syria, then it's the war with Iran against Babylon. That's the last step. So we're looking at the end of times. That's where we're living at right now. And there will be a plague. But it won't be through some airborne black people breathing on other people. They have set up the chemtrails throughout the four corners of the earth so that they can spray what they need to poison everyone with the respiratory disease and use that as a pretext for quarantine all over the earth. So it's not what you see. You have to look at what was already established and set up. This is everything we've been teaching for years. Them setting up a garrison around Israel to destroy them where they can't escape. So yes, we must come out of Babylon, but it doesn't stop in Babylon. After Babylon is destroyed, the New World Order will still look to exterminate us everywhere we reside. So we must be under the protection of the Most High, because they are looking to eradicate the children of God that's scattered all over the earth, including the daughter of Babylon. Finish reading what you have there.
Verse 7. Your country is desolate.
Our country is desolate.
Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence.
Now the Most High is speaking of a specific people. What people lost their land? It was us. We once owned and lived in Israel. So he's speaking about a specific people in this end time. He says, look what I allowed to happen to you. Your land is destroyed. Your land is desolate. I've allowed the nations to burn your place by fire. You have no home. So why can't you come back? Do any of us consider that we have no home? That Israel is our land. that was made desolate through our sin. Read.
And it is desolate as overthrown by strangers, and the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard.
It says the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard.
As a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city.
As a besieged city. So when I look at Israel and know that I have to get a passport if I want to actually step foot in there, I have to ask the strangers that took it, can I see my own land, the land of my fathers? I know that that's a prophecy fulfilled. It's been besieged. It's been taken. So what is the Most High telling me? What is he telling us? If I allow them to do this to you and you don't come back, there's other plagues to come. So it's one thing to point out what the one world order is doing and how they're planning certain things and how they operating by stealth and all that. But the key message the Most High want us to get in this is that this is prophecy. And it's all about how our people are behaving on this earth against his law. That's the key point. How we are operating in spite of our curse, in spite of us losing our land. We act as if we're not homeless. Read.
Verse 9. Except the Most High power of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant.
See that? Except the Most High left a small remnant.
We should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah.
If there wasn't a small remnant of our people still operating right, and we know those were the sons of Zadok during that time, the Most High would have destroyed us all. The whole land would have been laid waste, Israel, like Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's really, and what I'm pointing to is the spirit that's within our people. That's just not right. And I can point to different places in the Bible that no matter what the Most High did to show his love towards us, we turned our face to him. We turned our back to him. We come out of Egypt. He performed all these miracles for us. And we get into the wilderness and mock the Most High. And speak against him. And they say, Moses left us out here to die. Let's serve our God, Baal, that delivered us from Egypt. And they made a calf, Yahweh, to worship the star of Molech and the god Yahweh, which is Lucifer, a god that was in Egypt. And the Most High said, Moses, stand back. I'll destroy them all and build a nation out of you. And Moses pleaded for us and said, no, please don't do this. Because the nations are looking, everyone out there is looking at this. They'll say that you did all these miracles to destroy us in the wilderness. He pleaded with the Most High, and the Most High, for Moses' sake, spared us. On and on and on and on, the Most High was never good enough for us. He was never good enough. We always sought and seek these other nations and their gods and their pagan gods. And all their gods together is Lucifer at the helm. Because the Most High was never good enough. And then the Most High put special gifts in us to show that he was with us, so that we can be a light in this earth. And we use that to turn ourselves into idols, to idolize ourselves, to not give praises to the Most High, to use our gifts in the spirit he gave us for wickedness. So the Most High made the land desolate. He scattered us throughout the earth. And he fulfilled his promise through the Holy Spirit in the end time and gave us the truth concerning ourselves so that we can get delivered in due time, so that we can spread the word to say, Israel, the time is now. And even now, with all the information and understanding, because there's no question who Israel is, we're still doing the same things we've did for years, over and over, a perpetual disrespect to the Most High concerning his law. So now, the Most High is going to allow them to plague us. And brothers and sisters, the plague will be real. Yes, we know Ebola is all made up. But believe me, brothers and sisters, they're going to use the chemtrails and everything that's set up to poison the world. And if other nations are getting sick with this, they all are going to turn on who? They're going to look at who is the enemy. It's going to make it where we as a people will not be able to travel any place without being screened. It's what the Most High prophesied. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 60. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt.
Read it again.
Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt.
He will bring upon thee all the what?
Diseases of Egypt.
All the diseases of Egypt. Read.
Which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee.
Because back then when the plagues were coming in, when we were in ancient Egypt, it was actually attacking a certain genetic bloodline outside of Israel. And it couldn't affect Israel. But now the Most High have allowed that to get reversed. Where they can now have diseases that don't affect other people, but affect his people. That's what's going on here. What do you think the vaccine program and all that was about? They were shooting back for years, our parents and all that, up until our time, certain genomes in us. They were giving us certain things that other nations don't have. They were weakening our immune systems for what they're about to do now. Read.
Verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague.
Every sickness and every plague.
Which is not written in the book of this law.
Which is not written in the book.
Them will the Most High bring upon thee.
So the Most High is going to bring upon plagues that haven't even been written yet.
Until thou be destroyed.
Until Israel be destroyed. Why? These are they that choose to scorn the Most High, disrespect the Most High, not follow his law. So that's what this is saying here. Plagues that wasn't in Egypt will come upon us. And that's the Ebola and other viruses that they're claiming is coming out of Africa. The UN, which is the satanic religious hierarchy of this world, will send armies to destroy our people in Africa. And through that, our people will flee. And eventually, our people will be in the wilderness like we were before. A remnant that the Most High will allow to make it through this. A small remnant. So this have nothing to do with a disease per se, but them setting up their armies throughout the four corners of the earth to finish what the Romans didn't finish in 70 AD. And that's the destruction of Israel with that bloodline in them throughout the four corners of the earth. Read.
Verse 62. And ye shall be left few in number.
And we shall, to let you know that, listen, it won't be a total extermination. We will be left few in number.
Whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Most High thy power.
That's crystal clear. So the Most High would not do this and not give the reason why he's doing this. Because we're not listening to him. The prophecies are happening as we speak, and we are ignoring the fact that we're at the end of times, the end of our time. Read.
Verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoiced over you,
As the Most High rejoiced over us, read,
to do you good, and to multiply you, so the Most High will rejoice over you to destroy you, and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
That's crystal clear. Tells us that eventually, because we scorn the Most High and hate the Most High and not follow his law, that he will rejoice at our destruction. So some people might ask, well, what type of God is this that will allow such ill to his own people? Well, what type of people reject and scorn their God? That should be the question. Because other nations are operating with their God religiously. Look at how the other nations deal in Catholicism. They religiously follow their satanic God in Catholicism. And I look at how all the nations reverence their God all over the earth. And the only people that are not serving their God correctly, religiously, is the children of Israel. So now the Most High is saying, you know what, I'm going to rejoice over your fall. Because I'm going to tell you, because the Most High tell you, our wickedness have excelled the wickedness of the Gentiles. Why? Because the Most High gave us certain gifts and a certain spirit. And when we take something, it elevates it to the next level. Look at homosexuality. Look how flamboyant and right out there our people are that exercise that behavior. They want everyone to know. And they operate in a certain manner with it. Our wickedness have exceeded the wickedness of the Gentiles. So now the Most High will send a plague. He's allowing the plagues to happen. Okay? Read on.
Verse 64. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even to the other.
Go ahead.
And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
And eventually we were scattered and made to serve all nations. Now let's get to Syria now. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Go in real time with what's happening, what's going on in Syria right now, and while they're distracting you. Okay, they're distracting us so that we can't see what's going on in Syria. And let's first start off with so-called ISIS. You hear this all the time, ISIS, ISIS, ISIS. And that's manifold with that. Because we know ISIS is an ancient Egyptian goddess whom the elite powers and the Masons worship as a deity. So in one point, by invoking that name, they're giving reference to that Egyptian goddess. That's number one. Number two, we come to find out that a few years ago, Israel made a new unit. It was called the Israeli. It's called the Israeli Special Investigation Unit or something like that. ISIL or ISIS. And really, it's the Israeli Secret Service. And the letters are the same letters as a secret service as part of Mossad in Israel. So while they have you distracted with this ISIS thing, claiming that there's beheadings and all this mess, which is all staged propaganda to have you look one way, they're bombing and killing our people in Syria right now. And they're claiming that they're bombing ISIS. And ISIS really don't exist. It's civilians that are being bombed as we speak, being killed. And it's the continuing scattering and destruction of God's people. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 16:1. Let's read that real quick.
2nd Esdras chapter 16 verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
For your destruction is at hand. Now mind you, the other nations may fall to this destruction. Why? Because Israel, is scattered throughout all the earth. But the Most High is actually aiming his destruction towards his people. Israel must be purged first. So when you hear about these destructions, these are all the places Israel have been scattered and refused to come back to the Most High. The Most High have to purge them. And through that, the earth is being judged too. Understand what's going on here. This is the continual purging. This is what they call. Now, Satan, on the other hand, is telling his elite it's something different. That it's the destruction that he'll do to destroy his people so that he can set up his people, the Gentiles, as the judges of the earth. And then go to where the Most High is and take his throne and circumvent the plan of the Bible. That's how they're spinning this. That yes, it is the Lord's will up there. And we're going to actually exercise and do the things against his people. But I promise to go back and fight against him. And I'm going to take his throne and turn the prophecy. So that's why your elite powers of the Gentiles are following Lucifer to hell. They believe that he will have the power because they do go in and out of the atmosphere past our firmament all the time. So they have made the elite powers on earth believe that they can go to where the Most High is and take him. So you have a plot, a subplot in the Most High's biblical plot. Lucifer have the same plan, but his plan is to go and fight against the Most High, as it speaks of in the book of Isaiah. So it's Lucifer's plan within the Most High's plan. And that's what they call the one world order. But through both of the plans, it's the purging of God's people. See? Through both plans, it's the destruction of us. Woe be unto Babylon and Asia, and woe unto Egypt and Syria. Read.
Verse 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away?
See, plagues. Now the majority of plagues they're speaking of in modern times are plagues that are created through the CDC and the sorcerers that are paid, who are called scientists. And the majority of these plagues that they're doing now are race specific. They have set the stage with your chemtrails. So now we're used to them spraying things and tic-tac-toeing in the sky with no pushback from the population, which is a military attack against the world's citizens.
Mm-hmm.
See that? Now what's going to happen here? They're going to start spraying this stuff, and people are going to be coming down ill, and automatically through the side effects that they know will come through this, you must go through some level of what you would call Ebola testing to see if you are a threat to society. You must be quarantined and ran through a system. And when you ran through this system, if you come up as an undesirable, guess what? You will check in and won't check out. That's the plan. That's the plan, brothers and sisters. So, of course, we're reading prophecy and would not speak of this and not give us a way out of this. Because the Most High always give us a way out if we choose. The way out have always been there. And it's serving Him and keeping His commandments. And making time for Him. In our personal thoughts, in our personal closets. We must begin to connect with Him. Regardless of what's going on. And I hate to use this cliche. We need to get a relationship with the Most High. Make a relationship with Him. Even if everyone else don't know about it. And begin to keep His commandments. And bring Him in our life. Start keeping it so that when these things happen, the Holy Spirit can guide us. Go here. Go there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do this. We're going to be led through the Spirit, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you. We will be directed through the Spirit if we are connected already. So when you get that bad feeling that you shouldn't do something or something that something come over you, you know that the Holy Spirit is present. That's the Holy Spirit grieving your heart. Directing you. Now, we don't want to operate and not have that sense in us. It's what they call that higher sense. Where you can do things and your spirit is not telling you it's right or wrong. We must listen to that Holy Spirit. That's how we will be guided. But unless we connect first, when it comes time, the way you're used to doing things, what you come accustomed to is how you're going to react. And me, I operate solely off of what the Spirit is telling me, or I don't react at all. If the Spirit ain't got me on something, I'd rather just sit in my room and not deal with it. So that's the connection we're going to have. And it begins with praying to the Most High. Going into your bathroom for a time, for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to you separate. And just praying to the Most High and getting direction. Just you and Him. And then come back out and then go. People don't got to know what you're doing. But if you feel that there's a spirit that's missing and you're not getting that connection, you need to take some time to yourself in a bathroom and start praying to Him. That's why Christ says go into your closet. And I'm putting this out there because the Most High works with us that way. It's not what we do before people. That's just one facet of it. It's what we do in private, in our connection with Him, to know if He's still with us. That's the key. And then if we're doing something wrong, and you know it's in your conscience, and the Most High is giving you direction in your conscience concerning it, you gotta stop it. You gotta cut it off. Not know I'm thinking about it, or I know I'm dealing with this, but sooner or later I'm gonna work it out. No, it don't work that way. You gotta cut it cold turkey if you're doing something wrong. Because you don't want to be in that day. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. They're bombarding us with being drunk. They're bombarding us with getting high. They're bombarding us with all these things, which are really, I would say, patches over wounds. But then when it all happens and we don't have access to none of this stuff that's been covering our wounds, we're going to be totally sober with no direction. You're not going to have no escape. There will not be an escape of weed. There will not be no escape of any substance. It's going to be you and your decisions and your choices with no guidance. It's going to happen. The grid is going to go down. They've already made it. I'm putting this out there. They already made it where it's almost going to be against the law for you to hear Israelites say anything online. They used this fake story they put together with someone they had on drugs to demonize the whole Israelite movement. And what's going to happen when the grid go down and there's no electric? Because there will not be no electric when they do this. When there's rolling electricity and all these things going down that you see that they're programming you to accept, the only thing you're going to have is that connection through the Holy Spirit if you've been following His law. So these woes lead to what? And when I'm reading this, it lead to this whole earth eventually being off the grid. What happens when there's no computers? What happens when there's no electricity? What happens when there's no running water? Because when I look at all these wars and destruction, especially when Iran get loose, us as a people will be thrown back into primeval times. And if we don't have the Spirit, how will we be guided? Listen to this here. Read.
Verse 6. May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues.
Who sendeth the plagues?
The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues.
The Most High is allowing these plagues, brothers and sisters. And out of all the nations, I've never heard of a race-specific plague. All my years living have I heard where they titled a plague after a nation. Ebola. Ebo is Hebrew. So the Most High is doing this. He's going to purge us. Because a lot of us act as if the Most High didn't take us and put us in captivity and plague us. We act as if we're free. Like we haven't been stricken. Like we're not slaves. Read.
The Most High Lord sendeth the plagues. And who is he that can drive them away?
And who is he that can drive them away? So that's what's going on in Syria right now. Syria is suffering what we suffered in 70 AD right now. Those are our people. And it's being hid. That war is against a remnant of Israel that's still living in Syria. They're hiding it through the media. That this is the last purging of the children of God. Syria was part of Israel. Greater Syria was part of Israel. Now eventually, and I know a lot of them, some of them, a remnant of them, will be saved through this. But when it happened, we're not to ignore it. We have to show brothers and sisters the prophecies that are coming to pass so that we can prepare. Because this war is not just against an area of Syria. This is against a bloodline. And it so happened we are of that bloodline. You understand that threatens the powers of this earth. Read.
Verse 9. A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Most High shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence.
Now I'm bringing this out because we usually bring this scripture out and show that, okay, Christ is coming to destroy the nations. Yes, he is. But judgment starts at his sanctuary. Israel must be judged first before the Most High judge the nations. And I brought that out before. We must be judged first. And then he will judge the nations. So we're in the midst of this total destruction of what the Most High is going to do to this earth. We're in the midst of that. It's not like he's going to put Israel to the side and not destroy Israel and deal with the enemies. If we are not keeping his commandments, we are the enemy. You understand? So we're not exempt just because we're Israel. Okay? And that's what we've been putting out there. So many people have been holding to this Israel thing. They forgot that there's rules with being Israel. It's all about, I'm Israel and you're not. When if you're not following the laws of the Most High, you're not a child of the Most High. Finish reading. So what's happening in all these countries apply to us first. If anyone should know what destruction is, we should. He destroyed us in 70 AD. So when the Most High is bringing plagues to these other countries, should we not know what destruction is and come back to Him? Finish reading.
Verse 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also, before the Most High, and before the glory of His power. For strong is His right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that He shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again, until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me! Who will deliver me in those days?
Now you notice in Ezra is an Israelite here. Okay? This is Israel. This book is Israel, the Bible. And it's saying, woe is me. Woe is me. So all the prophecies in the Bible speaks of the fall and rise of God's people. That's what it's speaking of. All the things that lead to Israel's kingdom. So these destructions must come on Israel before we are delivered. Woe is me, read.
Who will deliver me in those days?
And see, and that's a lot of it. That's what we're asking now. Who will deliver us? It seems like this is all doom and gloom. How will we make it? It's simple. Leave off from our old ways and follow the Most High. And He'll guide us because we're not alone. That's number one. We have an angel of the presence that's with us continually, brothers and sisters, that report to the Most High every sundown. So you're not alone. So when it comes time for deliverance, there will be a spiritual intervention. Read.
Verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment.
So the Most High is sending these plagues as scourges for amendment. So there's a purpose behind the plagues. Knowing that if we are plagued and we understand these sufferings is based on who we are, and all the nations have plotted to destroy us based on what we will become, we will amend our relationship with our God. We'll mend it and say, okay, I don't want Ebola. Okay, I don't want FEMA. I don't want none of these things I'm seeing. I'm coming under the protection of a higher. A higher protect me in this time. Show me what I need to do to be spared through these plagues that you are sending. See, He has the power to have these plagues go right by us like in Egypt. He has the power to have them go right by us. So I'm not going to say that, well, that Ebola don't exist, because I know it's in a laboratory somewhere looking to be sprayed throughout the whole earth. But I know that the Most High have the power to not have the plagues come near us, because he did it before. Read.
Verse 20. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness.
Read that again. He's speaking about our people.
But for all these things.
But for all these things.
They shall not turn from their wickedness.
Our people will not turn from their sins.
Nor be always mindful of the scourges.
And they will not always be mindful that they're actually being punished. Read.
Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case.
And that's the whole thing. Because there's a sale, you can buy something cheap. Because the economy is still going, this fake economy that's been propped up to make you think everything is good. Because you can get things cheap on this earth. Read.
And even then shall evils...
Go back to that verse.
21.
When it says victuals shall be cheap.
Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap.
They're going to be so cheap you can go to the dollar store and go to this store and get stuff cheap. Read.
Upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case.
You're going to think that everything is good. Oh, it's normal. Oh, that's doom and gloom. That's fear-mongering. I just went to the store and got this. I just went and got me a flat screen TV. Everything is normal here. You're going to believe that everything is normal. That's part of the deception. So that you can't see exactly what's going on. How can you have a big screen TV and not know that Syria is being bombed right now? So what good is it? To know that the prophecies are, and guess what? When Christ come back, let me tell you, his coming will not be televised. Okay, none of your technology will capture Christ coming into this earth. Everything goes dark, and he's the only light coming from the universe. But now everything is going to be cheap. Oh yeah, look what I got. Wait, this was a blessing. The Most High got me this. No, you got that. You wanted that. Okay, what the Most High got for you, he's bringing back with his son. And it's okay. It's not bad for people to want things, but stop trying to put the Most High in everything you get. You want something, and that's okay. Read.
And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them...
And you know what? I'm seeing this confusion more than anything. I've never seen a world, and I'm speaking from a minority standpoint, growing up in the ghetto, growing up in some of the lowest parts of Philadelphia. I've never seen so vast a number of unbelievers amongst our people. Even the poor. The poor done given up on the Most High altogether and claim there is no God. And you would think they would be more religious than anyone. That they would seek some type of refuge or some understanding concerning their condition. Read.
Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
And that's what's going on right now. Look at what's going on with our people in Africa. They're dying of hunger. They're dying of all types of hunger, diseases and all that. And what's going on? They're propping up the HIV AIDS numbers. They're claiming these people are dying from AIDS when they're dying of lack of water and hunger. That's the prophecies of the Bible. And the elite powers have hid these numbers by claiming they're dying of AIDS. This is all prophecy. Read.
Verse 23. And the dead shall be cast out as dung.
And that's what's going on in Liberia right now. They claim people are dying of Ebola, which really don't exist. But it's the UN in Liberia killing our people. And the people are so afraid to go outside, thinking that they're going to be captured or quarantined. Their family members are laid up like dung, dead in the streets right before their eyes, and they can't even go outside and bury them. This is going on right now while we are just dealing with regular life as if everything is regular or normal. A lot of you don't know that Liberia was a country that was given, part of Africa that was given back to us. People that lived in America, children of slaves, had a place to go back into Africa for some land. That's what Liberia was. So that whole area of Liberia is family from slaves that went into America. And now they're warring against us there. We chose to go back to Liberia thinking we're going to have a better place and our own substance. And now the UN have met us there and destroying us, showing that this is the example of those that choose, that think they can just escape us, when there's no escape in their hand if we're not following the Most High. That's the key. So they went over Liberia, started dealing with all types of mess, and the Most High allowed the UN to come through. That's how it works. So the nations cannot do anything to us unless we're in sin. That's the key point I'm making here. And then when we go away from him and start disrespecting him and think that he don't exist, he brings a reminder. Okay, let me stir up the UN here. Go ahead, devil. Take your people. Show them. Don't worry about it. You got to get rid of the majority of them. They're probably sodomites and doing stuff and they don't got no business. Jumping on men and all that mess. Women doing stuff with women they had no business. We're going to wipe them out. But there's going to be a small remnant in that area that's going to say, you know what? This is being done based on our behavior here. We have forgotten our God. And that remnant, I'll have the angels move and protect. Fleeing from persecution. And I will save them. But the majority of this area must be burned like Sodom and Gomorrah. And what I just said is really all of America too. There's not a safe place in America, boy. I mean, you talking about some sodomites just loose and operating with impunity. And proud with it. There's not a, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you, there's not a minute spot in Babylon where there's some satanic man-on-man love going on in that area. In America, every place. So the Most High is going to bring it there. I'm speaking of all of America. And I'm seeing it in the television commercials. I'm watching certain things and I'm like, this is becoming prevalent in this country, in that country. So it's going to happen there big time. And our people that's caught up in it, judgment. That's why it says woe unto what? Read that first line again. Woe unto Babylon.
Woe be unto thee, Babylon.
Babylon.
And Asia.
And Asia.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt.
Egypt.
And Syria.
And Syria. So Babylon is not exempt here either. That's why I'm showing you this. But the world perspective that we're looking at, we're realizing that all these stories we see here, there, and the other are not independent stories. They're not just fringe stories that have nothing to do with itself in its own. It's really all tied into Bible prophecy. All that news. If you know what to look for. Read the verse you have there.
Verse 23. And the dead shall be cast out as dung.
And the dead shall be cast out as dung. Read.
And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down.
See that? I don't see no technology being used there. That's how I know the grid will eventually go down. That's why the so-called elite powers, which are the children of Satan, have built themselves alternative living underground and underground caverns and caves and all these things. So they understand that this technology they're using, even they will not be able to live in those areas. They understand what they're about to let loose on this earth. And it's only going to be a certain places in the earth that's not subject to that particular, these plagues. It tells us in Baruch, the 29th chapter, the 28th chapter through the 29th chapter, that only those that are in this self-same land in those days will be saved. So there's areas that the New World Order cannot touch in this earth, that the Most High is going to allow the remnant of his people to run into, that have a sound mind and that's following the Spirit of the Most High. He will make an escape for those that are following it. Read.
Verse 24.
Go ahead.
There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left.
Of a city there shall be how many left?
10 left.
10 left. Read.
And 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, and in the clefts of the rocks. As an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search the houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough.
No man shall travel therethrough. So we're talking about the depopulation of the earth that the Most High will allow. So when you look at what they call the Stonehenge of the United States, which is the Georgia Guidestone, claiming they have to get the earth down to 500 million. They understand the plagues they will soon let loose. They understand this. And you know what? It's nothing to be afraid about. The Most High said it would happen. But where will we be? And what spirit and what mindset will we be in now that we as a people understand that it's so? It's been prophesied. It will happen. Read. I need you to go down to the 68th verse.
2nd Esdras.
For behold.
Chapter 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols.
And that's what we have to be careful, because part of what they do against us so that we can drop our guard is the nations will take us away and feed things that they have sacrificed to idols, and that's part of their demon possession over us. You understand? So be careful. They're going to be serving us all types of foods and all that they have prayed spirits into while we're idle. So we must watch ourselves in that idle state. That means keep your guard up at all times and not be idle. It says they will take us away and feed us things sacrificed to idols, to show you there's a spirit attached with some of the foods they're giving us in our idle state. Read.
Verse 69. and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision,
Shall be had in derision,
and in reproach, and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place,
in every place, and it's speaking of every place Israel is scattered,
and in the next cities,
and in the next cities,
a great insurrection upon those that fear the Most High.
So the New World Order is going to be set up to go against those they know understand this Bible. Read.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Most High.
So the New World Order plan is to come against the truth, those who know better. First, they're going to wipe out the undesirables that are sinners, that are sinning on purpose, like the sodomites, the thieves, the robbers, the killers, and those, the atheists, the fools. They're going to move them out of the way first, and then they're going to aim towards those who can spiritually challenge them. Read.
Verse 72.
Yes.
For they shall waste and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known, who are my chosen.
And then at that time, it's going to know who's really down with the Most High.
And they shall be tried as the gold in the fire.
Who's going to stick with the Most High when you have nothing? When you're down to nothing. Then that's when it's going to know who was really down with the Most High the whole time. Anyone can say, yeah, I'm down with the Most High because everything is comfy the way you want it. But what happens when you have nothing? Will you turn your back on the Most High and say, well, listen, you can take that syringe and do whatever you want to do with it. Just let me have a house. Just let me have a car. And believe it or not, it's going to be more people than you think that claim they believe in the Most High that will willingly take the mark of the beast when it's time. It's going to be totally voluntary too. You can choose death. You can choose to be out there by yourself. You can choose whatever you want. Or you can just get this chip and have a house, have a place, your family is intact, everything is nice. And think about it. They're going to separate families that way too. What happens when some of your family have chose to do it? And they're saying, well, come on, I'm fine, look at me. Come over here. We're going into that time in which they're going to look to chip and mark everyone that's under Satan. And before this whole thing is over, I know everyone talk about this Antichrist thing, but I'm reading into this. It's not no Antichrist person. Before it's over, all these people that made a conscious choice going to know that Lucifer is their God. That's really what's coming to the forefront. Where they're setting up all religions to accept that they've been worshiping Lucifer the whole time. So it's not going to be no excuse for Christians. They're going to know Lucifer have come out of the shadows and have been their God the whole time and still accept him. So we definitely going to pray when we do our prayer. We're going to pray that the Most High protect the remnant that's suffering in Syria right now also. With that, we got about 10 more minutes before we pray out and begin the feast. So I just want to read on the Feast of Tabernacles. But I said I was going to teach on Syria and some of what's going on there and break down what's really going on with the Ebola virus in further detail. So that was done, and now that concludes this part of the lesson. And what we get from this lesson is that each individual must look within themselves and know that we are the children of God, and the Most High will protect us if we put down our sin, understand we're being scourged, understand we've been punished, and ask the Most High to forgive us for our sins and the transgressions of our fathers, so that he can lead us in this time of darkness. That's the key. Go to ourselves and pray to the Most High and ask the Most High to preserve us through this, to help us through this, to help us battle ourselves, because we're the biggest issue. It's in us. And ask the Most High to take out anything that's unbecoming to Him. All right? So that's what you can do as an individual with the Most High. To ask Him to not move His Spirit from amongst us. With that, we're going to read on the Feast of Tabernacles real quick from Leviticus 23. And then we will begin our feast. Let's go to Leviticus 23.